Hello, Rees here, and today we're going to find out who I am. Well, as you know, I'm Rees, and if you're following my YouTube channel, you probably know I'm a bee farmer. But I'm not just a bee farmer, I'm also an ordinary farmer, livestock farmer, and a countryside ranger as well. So, let's take it back right to the beginning. Born and raised in Carmarthenshire. I went to finish school, went to college, where I went down the road of countryside management. Since I was about 14, 15 years old, I knew I wanted to become a countryside ranger, and I dedicated my life roughly from that age down the road of becoming a countryside ranger. So when I got here, passed there, went on to Aberystwyth University then, where I continued studying countryside management. And between the time where I was in college and university, I had my first countryside management job. I was a handyman in Pembrey Country Park, so absolutely loved that job. The job wasn't a big job or anything, I was just litter picking, cleaning toilets and just helping maintain the park to the level and the standard that it's kept. And if you're ever interested in going to a nice country park, I definitely recommend Pembrey Country Park. So at university, I had one of the best years of my life there. Really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot more about countryside management and the countryside. Really, it gave a different in-depth perspective to what I saw in college, but it just concreted that I wanted to be a countryside ranger anyway. So while at university, I started working for the Forest Commission as a contract supervisor. So I was out there supervising the felling of trees, make sure that the wood was going to the right place, the contractors had the right equipment on, and they were felling the trees in the correct way. And that gave me a mass amount of experience supervising, not actually doing the work, because that's what I enjoy doing. I actually enjoy doing the work. But that gave a perspective of a countryside management role that I haven't had since, or that I haven't had before. I don't really work in big forestries anymore, and I don't supervise the felling of trees, but the few months I spent there was invaluable to me, and I really enjoyed my time there. So, graduated through Aberystwyth, got my degree, I passed. I struggled to get a job originally once I graduated. The financial crash had just happened and there wasn't many jobs going. But I got my break, and I got a job with the National Trust in Pembrokeshire. So I worked in Amroth, and I had a fantastic couple of months working there. We were felling trees, we were splitting wood, we were putting new paths in, we were maintaining the forestry. And the job was unique really, because I was a woodland gardener, and I didn't have experience gardening as such. I had plenty of experience, you know, estate skills, fencing, hanging gates, etc. that I had through the college and working at home with Dad where they lived. And that gave me a great perspective on the types of wildlife and fauna that's out there. Later did I know that those skills would be handy in making honey, producing honey. So I had a fantastic couple of months there, but I knew that job wasn't for me. It was a low paying job, an entry level job, but I was so thankful for National Trust for employing me once I graduated, because I know what it's like being a young kid. They say you've got to have a degree, then you get the degree, then they say you've got to have experience. Well, it's so hard to get a combination of the two, but the National Trust gave me that experience along with my degree. So while I was working with the National Trust, the job wasn't the best paying job, so I started gardening in the private sector as well. So when I worked around Amroth, we had a lot of holiday cottages type properties there, and a lot of wealthy and elderly people working there, just, you know, retiring there, enjoying the views, the scenery of living there by the sea. So I quickly got employed by them doing their gardens, mowing, planting flowers, planting trees, etc. Just keeping their gardens nice and clean and tidy, ready for the holiday season, or just keeping their property and in a way that they want to keep it for themselves, that they live in. So fast forward a year from that, I applied to be a countryside ranger for my local authority, and luckily I was granted that job. So I was the youngest countryside ranger in that department within that local authority, and I was one of the youngest countryside rangers that I knew at all. I didn't know any countryside rangers younger than me at the time. I think I was 22, 23 getting that job, and that's been a fantastic job. I've always wanted to be a ranger, and finally get the ranger job was a dream come true. That was one of the first major goals that I've hit in my life, where 4 or 5 years before I set it, and then worked right through those years to actually achieve that job. So fantastic job. Still doing it this now it's 2019. I'm part-time now, I'm not full-time, but I'm still enjoying the job. You know, we're building bridges, building gates, doing forestry work, cutting the trees, trimming, maintaining country parks, maintaining the picnic sites, dealing with the public, opening footpaths, bridleways, byways. The job is so far-ranging of what you actually do day to day. You know, we're on diggers, dumpers, hand tools. It's literally, if you think of a countryside management job, being a ranger is the top of that food chain then, as long as you still want to do the manual work, not just the management. It's the perfect job for mixing the two, management and the practical work. So that's me as a countryside ranger, but I'm not known as a countryside ranger, I'm known as a bee farmer. And I've been keeping bees for roughly the same amount of time as I've been a countryside ranger, back in 2010. So I've almost been 10 years as a ranger, almost been 10 years as a bee farmer, even though I wasn't a bee farmer right at the start. I was just a beekeeper with a couple of hives. But I won't go through how I started beekeeping in this video. That's a whole other story for another video, because I don't want this video to go over, and I'll go in depth on that in another video. So working full time and started bee farming together. Luckily then, a few years later, I managed to buy a small farm together with my wife, and at the same time as buying the farm, I became a father as well. So not only did I had cows and sheep to look after, I had my first newborn child to look after as well, and that's just been a fantastic life, working on the farm, having my family on the farm with me. You know, Gwenyn Gruffydd, the bee company, that's run from the farm as well. It's just a dream come true really, and I've always wanted to be a farmer, but that's another story as well. You know, my parents weren't farming. My grandfather was kind of a farmer. He lived on a farm but rented the land out, and I've always had that interest in farming, wanting to produce food and look after wildlife and livestock since I was a little child really. And you know, I've had a big interest in big machinery, tractors, diggers, dumpers, you name it. All that stuff is right down my street. So I became a farmer. It's on a small scale. We own 15 acres here. I rent another 30 acres in. So between everything, you know, it's not a bad size considering all the other work that I've got on too. So the name of the farm is Brynbach, that's what it's called. And we mainly, the bee business is the biggest part of the farm, selling honey. But from the livestock point of view, from the typical farming point of view then, we keep sheep, we sell lamb on, and we keep some beef as well. We buy some calves in, rear the calves up, we sell the calves later on, and we've just started rearing our own calves now. So the first calves that I bought when we bought the farm, they have now given birth, and I've got their calves that I'm rearing up. Hopefully they'll bring me calves every year from now on, as long as they get a bit of luck. And that's the business model of the farm really. We help some people out, obviously we've got tractors, diggers, etc. If someone wants a hand with something, we'll go there, help them out with the tools that we've got as well. That's just little side earner for the farm really. We're not into that commercially or anything, but if you've got the tools and someone offers you a little bit of work to help them out, then it's always worth taking that extra work on. So over the years I've had some success. The biggest success for me really, we set my honey brand on the go, was winning the Great Taste Awards. We won 2 stars 2 years running. We've only entered it for 2 years running, and that's put the honey on a UK level. I'm one of the highest rated honey producers in the UK if you're going off the Great Taste standards, and everybody knows Great Taste is the award to win. That is the Oscars of fine food. Last year then we won the Prince's Countryside Fund, so Prince Charles awarded me with a brand new Land Rover Discovery for a year free of charge. That's helped to publicise the business, help the business out in a fairly big way. We've helped the company write a bee book for kids. So we give all the information, the photos, the video, etc. That they needed to write a book for kids. We've had a few appearances on TV, radio, been on a few food programmes. A Welsh programme, Ffermio, they did a small, it's not quite a documentary, but a small item where they filmed us on the farm, and we went through the bees, through the livestock, and what the plans for the business is. So, what does the future look for Rees and Gwenyn Gruffydd? Well, I'm hoping to build the honey brand up a lot more, hoping to increase the bee numbers, and just increase the presence of Gwenyn Gruffydd. Hopefully going to bring some of the livestock element into Gwenyn Gruffydd, so possibly selling lamb, beef, etc. direct to the producers, or like I'm currently doing, selling the produce to the shops. So I sell a lot of honey to delis, small shops, restaurants, etc. So I'm hoping to bring more than just honey down the Gwenyn Gruffydd road, because we've all seen in the news, you know, people are messing with food and it's making people ill. Well, the business model that I've got with my honey, as I said, direct from the hive to the consumer, like it's supposed to be, and I'll be bringing the same model over with the beef and lamb if I were to go down that road. So we're always looking to do joint ventures or team up with companies or organisations on various projects or products. So well, I'm a big believer in co-working with other people. If you're just working on your own brand without helping anybody else out, it's quite a narrow vision, you know, narrow-minded. If you can spread your wings, work with other organisations, other companies to benefit the two of you, I'm a big believer in that, and I think that's the way to go. And through YouTube, we've been quite active on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for the last few years. We've been pushing. So it's only just end of last year, 2018, that I ventured onto YouTube properly, and I'm hoping to build up the audience on my YouTube channel. That's going to be the biggest goal of 2019, pushing YouTube. I want to get as much useful free content out there of the skills that I've learned within the beekeeping industry, farming industry, and the skills that I've acquired being a countryside ranger. So I want to get as much of that free information out there in some good videos for you to digest and for you to consume. Hopefully you'll find some use in that and find it useful. And looking forward then, I'd like to add an interview element to the Gwenyn Gruffydd YouTube channel, so maybe going out there interviewing different companies, organisations, individuals, and just putting a programme out there, just a rough maybe 15-20 minute, half-hour slot of me interviewing different, could be another bee farmer, other farmers, you know, sawmills, tractor dealerships, just stuff that I'm interested in. And I don't think there's a lot of that on YouTube at the minute, so we're definitely gonna push down that road in the future. And you never know, I might go down the podcast route later on as well, but initially we're just gonna be concentrating on YouTube. Now, as part of my success, I started doing a lot of bee talks, going out to different groups, organisations, telling people about Gwenyn Gruffydd and my story, and talking about beekeeping and bee farming as well, and that's proven quite popular here in Carmarthenshire. And hopefully I'm going to keep doing those talks and do a lot more within the next coming months and a few years. So that's Rees in a nutshell there. Hopefully you found this useful and it hasn't taken too much time. And if you want to stay tuned with me, what I'm up to, follow me on social media and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.